your source for the #1 sports weekends. Fox Sports, only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. I already have something in common with our next guest, Robin.
Okay.
I already have something in common. I fell in love with L.A. the first time I ever went out there, and I just really, really love L.A. I love Santa Monica specifically.
Oh, you're going to bond.
I'm going to bond, but I'm going to bond for a second reason. Because I've never been to Paris, but I have, and I know this is true for you too. We've sort of fallen in love with this city we haven't been to. Right?
Yes.
We play music that is very Parisian sounding with the mandolin and the accordion, and we have been getting gigs specifically to take coffee houses and make them more Paris-like, just simply by the music that we play. And in doing so, I go online, I go to Street View on Google, I go to videos of people like walking around Paris, and I have vicariously been to the city. And I you know who else helped me with this is oh gosh, what was the lady's name I used to like? Samantha Brown.
Yes.
From the Travel Channel. So on the phone, we have a lady who's going to take me to both cities. How far are they apart from each other? 8,000 miles? Diane Ratican is on the phone. She's a teacher of gifted children. There's a third thing we have in common, Rob. Not that we're teachers, but we have a soft spot for gifted children.
Yep.
She's a risk-taking entrepreneur, a conjurer of images. I think that applies to you.
That's pretty awesome.
She's an artistic director. She built a highly successful business importing children's clothing from France for upscale retailers across the United States. My goodness, I want to see this book. We didn't get it yet, right?
No, it's en route.
Why L.A.? Pourquoi Paris? Did I say Paris right? Did I use the right accent? The
Oh, she'll tell you.
It's almost Jewish. It's almost a Jewish thing, isn't it? Why L.A.? Pourquoi Paris? An artistic pairing of two iconic cities. Diane, good morning, Diane.
Good morning. It's really exciting to be on the program, especially because you guys are in Florida.
Where are you?
I'm in L.A.
You are? What part of L.A. are you in? I
am.
I don't know it that well.
Okay, I'm not near the beach where Santa Monica is. I'm in Pasadena, and actually, we're called the Silicon Sister of Santa Monica, because in the entrepreneurial world, Santa Monica's, the Silicon Beach, and then we're the Silicon Sister.
I didn't know that.
Big entrepreneurial playground here. Everybody's startups. Coming from money, businesses, it's just incredible. LA. But I was hearing you earlier, and you said, how far is it? It's 6,000 miles, and the cute thing is you're right in the middle. You're 3,000 miles, more or less.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
As is New York, and most Parisians in the beginning go to either New York or Florida. You know that. That's a whole big thing.
I assumed New York. I didn't realize Florida. Or maybe Orlando or Miami. Yeah.
Weather, we have the weather. That's the one thing we have in common with each other.
Yeah.
But LA is so different because we have the mountains. I've been to Florida many times. It's beautiful.
Right.
You have the beaches.
Lots of sand.
In common. Right. Believe it or not, we're even more diverse in terms of languages and ethnicity, if you can believe that. And we are larger. We're really.
Yes, you are. Well, Diane, thank you for being on the air with us. So you fell in love with two cities. How did I do on the? Can you pronounce your title for me? I want to hear you say it.
Why LA? Pourquoi Paris? You even said it better than me. I fell in love with both cities, and I live in both cities. I go back and forth, so that's the funny part of it. And when I exited the business in 2008, it was like, okay, you have one success in life. What do you do next? And I never really even thought about it next. But being involved with the Pasadena Angels, you're always seeing new people come up with new ideas and fulfilling them. So I got this idea. Actually, someone recommended write a book, and I went, oh, no, I'm not going to write a book. Because, everybody's written a book certainly about Paris. I don't know about L.A. But then I thought, maybe my experience, I can do this creatively and differently. Hence, what I did with the business, what I did with the book. It's very unique. No one's ever done it before. It offers a level of discovery and awareness to see the cities in ways that have never been seen that way before.
So when are you when are you in Paris? What is the weather like in Paris when you're there?
I'm there all year. I'm back and forth about 4 or 5 times a year. So when I go back in January, it's winter. People think I'm crazy, but I love the seasons, and Paris is beautiful any time of year. Artistically, it may be gray and dark and rainy, and sometimes it's snowy, but the trees, when they've lost all their greenery, look like lace everywhere. I mean, to me, it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and it's man-made beauty because of how they design the city and the building codes and the heights and all of that. To me, it makes it feel like I'm in a Matisse painting where there's all the repetitive grill work going on. But the book took, they say that Ralph Waldo Emerson, the reward of a thing well done is to have done it. And it took about 2.5 years to do because I decided to do it in pairs. In other words, taking landmarks, taking different cultural things, even sporting events. I know you have a sporting event background, let alone the art background that you have, Robin, and pairing them. So I chose 2 artists, Eric Giriat from Paris. These are both very, very well-known illustrators, and Nick Liu from L.A. And each one, I did this huge scrapbook of pairs and did all the work, gave it to these guys, and then they came up with the pairs and the most magnificent art. I wish you had the book, and I can't
I'm scrolling on the website. I'm scrolling through the pictures right now. I see what you're talking about.
Good. So we have a website. I should say that the book retails for $26.95, as does the ebook. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And please, your independent booksellers, they can all order it and get it. And, you're in Florida. It doesn't matter. You said you haven't been to Paris. This is a perfect way for you to travel to Paris. And interestingly, if you do get to go and you really like what you see in the book, and you'll fall in love with some of the illustrations, I know for sure, and you'll want to see them and think, oh, that's like what this is in L.A., you're kidding.
What is really remarkable about you is that you have this magnificent talent. You seem to be not have been sure about your talent. Other people recognized it. So you put the book together, but you also have your illustrations and things that you've created at the Walt Disney Concert Hall, Hollywood Bowl, Norton Simon Museum. I mean, my gosh, your art is like all over the world.
Thank you. Well, it's getting there, and that's the most beautiful part of the book. It really is. The narratives that are in the book are informative and interesting, providing insights for the pairs that follow, but the focus is really on the art and the stories they tell. What can I tell you? Art, you know that because, Robin, you're an artist as well.
And Larry
Art
also.
captures the soul, it liberates the soul. It makes you look at things differently. It celebrates humanness. What can I say?
Well,
that's why I decided to tell the story that way.
Do you know what I like about what the pictures I'm looking at right now? I'm scrolling through them, and I love everything in what I've seen so far. The website, for those who want to see it at the same time I'm looking at it, is the title of the book. So you have to know how to spell Pourquoi, I think. Pourquoi. That's right.
Yep.
So it's YLA Pourquoi Paris or Paris, and then you'll see what I'm looking at.
.com.
But what I like about it is this. Okay, I'm originally from New York. A real quick story. Before I moved to this part of Florida, there was a National Geographic article that was called "The Rural South." And there was a picture of a shack. I mean, a rundown shack. And underneath the picture, it had the name of the city we're in, Ocala. And somebody said, and somebody said, "This is where you're moving?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's where I'm moving?" and then when I got here, of course, that was one of the photography things with, they found a shack somewhere not too far from the city is not represented by that. And then so the same thing happens, I think, to New York a lot. Where movies will make New York to be like the bad guy city. It's not that bad.
Yeah, right. I love it.
And L.A. gets that same mess, but I don't know if Paris ever gets that. The Woody Allen movie, Midnight in Paris. That helped me fall in love with Paris too.
No, Paris is Paris. Everybody loves Paris. It's easy to fall in love with Paris. It's iconic. the deal is there's a love affair going on with Los Angeles now because it's considered a trendsetter. It always has been.
Right.
And it's a city of the future. We're on the present, but we're always into the future. That's one of the reasons for the love affair now between Paris and Los Angeles. Paris is a city of, traditions, of the past, of the present, and then they're focusing on the future. And Parisians, when they come here, they immediately pick up the freedom, the individuality, the ability to express yourself, that we don't have the fear of failure here that they do there, because it's a more hierarchical, constricted society, traditional society. The same would be true, of course, a little bit, I think, in Florida, but we really, L.A., it's only 200 years old, remember this, and the comparison is with a 2,000-year-old city. And they hold their own, believe it or not. When you go through the book and you see the pairs and you read what I wrote, you'll understand, wow, there is a yin-yang relationship between the two. And that's why I guess I'm a whole person, is because I get to go back and forth between both.
That is so cool that you do that. I love that. Yeah. So do you have an apartment there right now, just without you in it?
I do. I have an apartment there. I did that as a result of the business, because I was over there so much it got to be really silly to pay hotels. And I also have to say it was a reward to myself for 25 years of hard work and running a business. And yet I always have to be in Paris. People always say if you had to choose where to live. I said I don't have to make that choice.
Yeah, really.
I have a perfect life, and I'm so used to the Air France flight 65 and 66 going back and forth. I don't even think about it anymore.
Oh wow! Were you the designer of children's clothing?
No, I didn't. I didn't ever design the clothing. I worked with some big brands. And of course, they had designers, and I arranged for all the importing, selling, advertising, merchandising, everything here. So the design part came in the presentation of the collections and the working with the retail stores to help them, merchandise the collections and everything. And that's one thing I've always loved about the business. It wasn't even so much, it was the clothes, always the clothes and the quality of the clothes. And then the quality of the companies and the workmanship. This is something that when you read the book, and you'll see, even in the artwork that I worked with my artists on, there's a quality, there's a beauty of taking it really seriously, the passion that we both have. The passion that's there for doing an incredible job, a job well done, and that I felt immediately. They're amazing. People used to make fun of the French all the time, and Parisians, the 35-hour work week. Well, I have to tell you, they do more quality work in 35 hours than a lot of people would do in more.
I believe it.
Do you miss one when you're not in it? Like, do you miss L.A. when you're in Paris and vice versa?
There you go. That's the book. It's what am I thinking about? What am I missing in L.A. when I'm in Paris? And then I get to come home to it. And in L.A., what am I dreaming about? What am I missing in Paris?
Huh.
I go for my fix. So that's kind of how it is. You brought that point up really, really well.
Diane, we need to take a little break just for weather and a couple of commercials, and we'll be right back. The book that we're talking about, that Diane Ratican wrote and has beautiful illustrations in, is called Why L.A. Pourquoi Paris? An artistic pairing of two iconic cities, one I love, one I want to love. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, times of clouds and sun and warm. With a shower or thunderstorm in the area, high 82 to 86. There can be a shower this evening near the coast, otherwise partly cloudy tonight. Those 64 and then 69 at the coast. Tomorrow, times of sun and clouds, just a chance of a shower, high 81 to 85. And on Friday, sunshine, some clouds, and quite nice, the high 81 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Ooh, ouch. Does pain have you glued to the couch? Yes, unfortunately it's true that every year we must get older, but that doesn't mean we have to deal with pain in our back, knees, or shoulder. If your muscles and joints are sore, don't worry anymore. Come get acupuncture from me and you'll be pain-free. Acupuncture starts as low as $35 at a Better You Healthcare. Call me, Dr. Erica Olstein, at 615-5566. Stop your pain from driving you insane.
Robin, let's try a little plant trivia. Name this nursery. It's a not-for-profit, and it teaches growing and caring for plants to their students.
Oh, that's easy. Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? It's a nursery conveniently located between Ocala and Bellevue.
Again, it's Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? A nursery with a wide variety of just what you need or want at the most reasonable prices.
Kenny's Place, of course.
Kenny's Place at 7677 Southeast 41st Court. Give them a call at 867-1213. It's a caring place for people and plants. It's Kenny's Place.
Florida State looks to rebound from a tough loss to Georgia Tech last Saturday by welcoming in the Syracuse Orange in Doak Campbell Stadium right here on WOCA The Source, brought to you by Tri-Eagle Sales, your local Bud Light distributor in Marion County. Kickoff is at 12 p.m. this Saturday, Florida State versus Syracuse, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA The Source.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com, Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge, undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking: will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
All right, the commercials just seem like they take so long when you're in the middle of a good interview.
Exactly.
Diane Ratican is on the phone out in L.A., a city she loves, Pasadena, I think specifically. Her book is called Why L.A., Pourquoi Paris. Diane, when you're in Paris, are you in downtown Paris? Where do you stay? Is it like?
Apartment is right near the Trocadero, which is in the 16th, and that's where you overlook the Eiffel Tower. It's also where the aquarium is and the museum. They call it a patrimony, which is architecture, and it's a very, very famous place, always filled with tour buses and everything. And I have a tradition that when I arrive in Paris, just so everybody knows I'm there, I walk my 4 blocks up to the Tour Eiffel, take my picture, which is so beautiful because it's always different.
Wow.
Aren't you glad cities aren't spouses? You can have 2.
Well, when you read the book in the introduction, that's exactly a little bit different. I said that L.A. was my husband and Paris is my lover. Yeah, and on one interview, they hadn't gotten the book and read that line. She said, "Is there a man over there?"
Oh.
That was cute. And I said, no, it's just Paris. It's just the city I'm in love with. It just feels that way for me. And anyway, over the years too, of course, I've got a lot of friends there, and it's just I'm very blessed. As
somebody just scrolling through the pictures right now, there are things in Paris that I'm looking at that make me want to find out more about them. For example, on this one, on the left side, it's the Griffin Observatory, and on the right side, it's the Invalid. Is that what you call it?
Invalid.
What is that?
Invalid.
Well, the concept there was sort of architecture in the domes. See the domes on top?
Okay, right.
That was the reason for that pair. There isn't anything more meaningful than that going on. And each pair, I was telling Robin earlier that there's a reason for each pair, and it's up to you to figure out what the reason is.
Oh, really? Okay, so Capitol Records is up against Radio France.
Right. Those are both architecturally round buildings.
Right.
But Invalid that's Napoleon's tomb. That's where Napoleon's buried.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of the it's a famous thing, and it's in the skyline of Paris too. When you're looking out at the Tour Eiffel from the Trocadero, you will also see that, and it's on every tour list that you can think of to go to the Invalid and see that. So it also, if you look at the bottom, I don't know if it shows up on the website, there's little latitude, longitude numbers there, and if you put those numbers in your phone, the actual location will pop up.
Oh,
so
really?
The ebook makes it, this is what I was telling you earlier, the ebook, if you go there, is perfect because then you just punch it in and up comes your geolocator. And a lot of people are traveling now, with their iPads. It's amazing to me. So these big, heavy travel books, you do not
don't need them anymore. Isn't that amazing?
No.
So you have Dodger Stadium up against Roland Garros.
Roland Garros. Okay, now
Okay.
that was, I thought you'd like that because you have a sports background, and I did do a lot of sports pairing. And also, just one side note, both cities have had the Olympics twice. And now we're up against Paris again for 2024.
Really?
Wow.
And in Paris, it would be the 100 years from the last one that they had. So it's going to be, that just happened. I didn't invent that. I went, oh my goodness. This is
Where
like
did you?
That would be
Diane,
wonderful.
Where did you grow up, Diane? Did you grow up in L.A.?
I actually grew up till I was 8 years old in Chicago, and then we moved out here. But I've lived my life really out here. But I do love Chicago. So that's probably where my desire to have the seasons comes from, because I used to love to walk to school. In the, you know, I mean, I do like that.
That's probably right. Yeah.
You have such a marvelous repertoire of photos, but you also do a lot of historic information and cultural trivia.
Yes. Just enough to whet your appetite and to make it interesting for you. We can't all remember every single fact about every single thing that we see in a city. So I took what I thought were really the highlights, the things that I would want you to walk away with or learn or know. And then there were things I learned that I didn't even know in the book. I had no idea that surfing was introduced to L.A. I always thought L.A. was surfing.
Who introduced it?
Here, Huntington. When he was building, we once had a great transportation system. You guys will not believe that. Before they decided in the 50s to make this the city of the future and the car city, the car culture of the world, which we are.
Right.
They took out these train lines that we had. I don't know why they didn't decide to leave everything.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, millions of dollars trying to put them all back again. Great city planning, right?
Wow. Yes.
Huntington decided that to encourage people to go, like from Pasadena or wherever downtown to the beach, Huntington Beach, he would bring in a surfer, a teacher from Hawaii. And that's how surfing began.
Oh, that makes sense.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that. I just thought it was something indigenous to our culture.
Right.
But no.
Does Paris have a subway?
Oh, yes. Oh, God. They have the most fantastic metro line in the world. It's phenomenal. And that's why it's so easy to get around in Paris. You want to know one thing I love about that? I don't need a car. And it takes me 15 minutes to get anywhere in that city. It's wonderful. And besides that, they have the Leaves, they have buses. It's small, LA is huge.
Diane, are you familiar enough with New York to compare it to that city? I'm real familiar with New York, so.
Yeah, it's similar in the way, the efficiency of the metros, but I think the metros in Paris are prettier and nicer. You know,
cleaner.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Paris. Okay, it's going back to taking pride in the city. They clean that city daily. You would never, like you see in New York, piles and piles and piles of trash every day when you're walking the streets. You would never see that. You don't. You just don't. Every single day they're out in our parks and gardens cleaning, not once a week, but every day. These people take care of what they have. They love what they have, and that resonates with me.
You also compare people like Marilyn Monroe to Brigitte Bardot and George Clooney to Dujardin.
Well, that was the fun part.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
They're both cities of celebrities, of entertainment, of culture, of glamour, and it was just a fun idea. Also, in the back end, the cuisine or food section is Wolfgang Puck and. I'm blanking.
You said Alain Ducasse?
Alain Ducasse, right, who's one of the most famous chefs in Paris and actually in the world. Just fun things like that I threw in. And even the art, you'll see that's very Andy Warhol in how we did those illustrations.
That is so cool.
Did those. Yeah, and we combined, well, how would you describe them? They're kind of impressionistic, a little bit primitive, like Gauguin, Matisse. Those were artists that I liked. They have attitude. They had to have attitude.
Yeah.
There's nothing but attitude.
We've never been to Paris, but we've been to Paris in Epcot in Walt Disney World.
It's
close.
stereotype, but Larry, it's a true one. It's a true stereotype.
Well, it was good food anyway. Diane, you are fun. Thank you so much for giving us a great interview. We have to take a break and say goodbye, but let me tell the listeners, if you want the book, you go to the website Pourquoi.com, Paris. And is the book on Amazon, etc.?
It is on Amazon. Yeah, both the ebook and the book, and it retails at, I think, at $26.95. Yeah, it's wonderful. I'm really happy that people are enjoying it and get something from it that they wouldn't have gotten.
Absolutely, yeah. Diane, thank you again for being on the air. That was fun. I hope you are able to come back one day. We will take a break and be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. GOP presidential hopefuls are getting ready to face off in Boulder, Colorado.
Carly Fiorina, she needs to have another home run because her debate bounce from the last debate has been fading. She's dropping in the polls. John Kasich, Rand Paul, Chris Christie, they all need to prove to the voters why they're still in this race. And Donald Trump needs to take back the momentum from Ben Carson.
Fox's John Roberts in Boulder. There are some bleary-eyed baseball fans this morning after the longest ever World Series Game 1.
City's Escobar started the World Series, the first Kansas City at-bat, with a jolt and an inside-the-park home run. Over 5 hours later, the Royals win it. The winning run happened after midnight, and baseball fans are back for more with Game 2 tonight at the K here in Kansas City.
Fox Radio's Jeff Minato. Royals beating the Mets 5-4, and more than 300 captives freed in Boko Haram raids by Nigeria's military. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean, without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack, when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free.